going on. The wide world of wrestling is changing. We talked about it already, and it continues to keep on rocking and rolling. It's Harold, it's Rob, it's DC, the boys, the TSK is back coming at you with some more breaking news junk. Okay? Breaking news junk. And a lot of it is huge. Abso-fucking-lutely huge. Monumental, groundbreaking, earth-shaking, huge.
Bigly.
However you want to color it. This is a big fucking deal. Let's be blunt about it. Let's be for real about it. It's a big fucking deal, and there's no better way to go about it than just to say it. Raw's going streaming. They're going to Netflix, not Amazon Prime, not fucking, I don't know what other weird one can I come up with, Lifetime movie channel. They're going to fucking Netflix, which in return, there has been this constant talk about streaming platforms going to tier levels, going to are you willing to pay the $20, $25 a month to get the extra, to get the, the early releases, the whatever have you. I remember WWE Network was talking about that for a little bit, and that was something I remember getting excited for. Now, it looks like Netflix is going to take that exact route, and they're going to have a tier program now where there's going to be the cheap one, and it's going to go up. I'm not going to give you prices. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Just the reality is I have a funny feeling Netflix, for some people, especially that are going to be these Raw lovers, or WWE lovers, I should say, because PLEs are going to be happening on there as well, if that's what you're going to call them nowadays. I guess they'll be pay-per-views.
Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but are they moving all their stuff over from Peacock to Netflix?
So the Peacock deal, I want to say, ends in August, either August or September. So there's actually going to be a weird time too as well, where even their USA contract ends, and there's going to be a random stagnant about 3-4 months of where the fuck is WWE going to be. And it's seriously up in the air. I'm sure they'll figure out some kind of thing. They've been with USA for a long time. You can always finagle some kind of deal. Just give yourself a little extension. But the reality is that's something that could really happen. We could those WWE diehards could randomly turn on their television in the middle of November next year, or the end of this year in November, and all of a sudden there's no Raw on Monday night. Well, they're not on the USA Network. Maybe they moved to Fox. Well, they're not on Fox. Maybe they're on FS1. They're not there. Maybe they're on Sci-Fi. What happened to Raw? There's a very strong possibility that something like that can happen. But as far as I know, as of right now, SmackDown will be leaving Fox at the end of the year and going back to the USA Network. So that's something that's going to be happening as well. We already know about NXT going to the WB and getting a nice new audience from them. And again, Raw's going to be going to Netflix, and as well as, again, their library. So the Peacock library, goodbye. The idea of the WWE Network, goodbye. You now have a fucking channel on Netflix. Which, you know what? Yeah, I don't think is a bad thing.
No.
Not at all.
Let's backtrack that a minute. Let's look at it as it's going to depend on how they do the layout. People initially were saying, hey, Peacock might not be all that bad. It was terrible. The layout for the WWE Network is terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at how the WWE Network initially was back in the day, it was so easy to find things. And if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to go to WrestleMania 15, you wanted to watch Kane versus Triple H. I don't know why you would, because that match was the drizzling shits. But you could go to that specific
People got
match.
bad taste.
You can't do that right now.
No. You got to go watch the whole show. It's very annoying. But again, we talked about layout. I'm sure all of us are familiar with. I'm sure anybody listening and watching this right now is very familiar with Netflix. The fact of the matter is most of it's engraved in TV, in your smart TVs these days. So it's almost second nature. I feel like this is going to be a perfect, easy to go platform. It'll randomly catch those old heads, those guys that maybe, I used to watch it in the Attitude Era. I can watch the Attitude Era all over again on Netflix. And there you go. You made it easy for the boomer. You made it easy for the boomers.
Yeah, I think obviously there's a lot of inherent value in hopping to Netflix right off the bat in the U.S. market. Netflix is, if not the number one, number two streaming service in America. I'm pretty sure it's number one. It's It's a powerhouse.
I want to say number one, yeah.
Just like WWE is a powerhouse. It's a partnership made in heaven, you could say. It's just a perfect. It just
Right.
They assimilate perfectly to each other. The corporate environment that they have just kind of clicks with what WWE's got going on. So
Exactly.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Just to kind of tie in with that, though, the price they paid.
Absolutely.
Holy crap. $5 billion.
No,
That's right.
$5
Let's get
billion.
into that.
Here's the
Thank
question.
you for $5 billion.
that's-
Here's
for
another thought
10
that not a
years.
lot of people are talking about.
That's commercial free money right there.
WWE Raw is now off of network television. This opens up Monday nights. What, if
This
anything,
is true.
does Tony Khan try and do?
You're going right there, and then see now that's the other thing that I was talking about. There's other, as we had talked about prior to this. There's various talking points about this. So like I said, we've established that SmackDown's doing what they're doing, NXT, blah 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 blah. We now know that the new home as of January 2025 will be Netflix. So anytime you want to watch the PLEs or whatever, Netflix. But again, that now takes the idea of Warner Brothers Discovery buying WWE off of the plate. And with that being said, talking about Warner Brothers, the reality is there's a possibility that TNT could lose the NBA. And with that, that's probably one of the only things it's hanging on to, that and AEW. So if they lose the NBA, AEW goes from this, as the other people call it, the shitty mud show, the bad second show, the better than NXT, or better than Impact or whatever the fuck you want to, however you want to downplay it. It now officially makes it. There you go. It now officially makes it a top dog, a top competitor, a must-have for your network. Now, because if they decide to leave Warner
nothing.
Brothers Discovery, you got nothing. You got reruns of The Big Bang Theory and Family Guy.
And I will say that I don't see the NBA leaving. Is I got to imagine they expect it to stay, and WWE went to them and said, "Hey, we want this." And if they didn't think there was a chance, if they thought there was a chance that they were going to lose the NBA, I think they would have said, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it." But the fact that they weren't willing to give the WWE what they wanted shows me that maybe they're keeping that. And then does it say, what does AEW do? Now, with that, does AEW think of maybe moving Collision to Monday nights?
There's definitely...
I don't think so.
No. There's definitely room for possibilities.
Monday night GCW. Are you...
Now that is something I could see. With the fact that Netflix is going to be taking over Raw being pulled off of cable, I think will free up some space. But technically, Raw is still going to be a Monday show.
Yeah.
From what I understand, going forward until Nick Khan changed something. But so I don't really see AEW swooping in on the opportunity of Monday, but possibly somebody like a TNA, a GCW, an MLW, they could definitely benefit from that.
I was going to say, let's maybe get Impact on a better channel, because although, they are, you can watch them. I think you can actually watch them on YouTube now. You pay $1 or something like that.
I think they're Access. Wait, no, that's New Japan.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Access.
Well, yeah, it's still
No,
Impact.
they're both on
They're
Access.
both Access.
They're both access.
Yeah.
It's hard having access to
some people
access.
might not have access to access. Let's get them on a channel we can all we can grasp.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Hell, fuck,
Why
throw them
not?
on TBS. For goddamn, you know what I mean? Like, come on now. Warner Brother Discovery has a lot of channels. Okay, that's what I'm driving at. Warner Brother Discovery has a lot of channels. I'm not saying replace the NBA with professional wrestling. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, why not broaden that horizon of professional wrestling, perhaps, with that possibility? But then again, you know what I mean? We're just on the outside looking in. But speaking of that, the outside looking in, there's always something that happens with wrestling fans, and it's this quote-unquote war over ratings. So I have to bring this up because it is extremely important. with the move of Raw going to Netflix, it now becomes international. And what does that mean exactly? It means that the way that the ratings are read by the Nielsen's, or like the Nielsen system or whatever it's considered or called, it's going international. You now not only have the U.S. market, you have Canada, you have Latin America, you have the U.K. It is a gigantic horizon. The Raw number is going to triple, if not quadruple overnight, strictly due to the international viewing. So I feel like that in itself is going to kind of cancel out the idea of anybody going to a Monday. And on top of that, we have to keep understanding that each and every year, whether we want to really believe it or not, Monday Night Football is the end all be all. That is what Mondays are for. Okay, whether it's fucking football season or not, Monday Night Football is Monday Night Football. And I just feel like no wrestling promotion of any glorified magnitude is really gonna stand on par with it. Even WWE could barely do it.
The other aspect that you gotta realize, when The Rock bought out XFL, they merged with that other league. So now, does that league,
the USFL,
that joint league now, do they go to USA on Monday nights? Now that
they're under the ESPN banner. Yeah, they got their license. Their licensing got bought by it was either ESPN or CBS.
It's the devil.
I watch all the foosball. I mean, I got this foosball. I got the other football. I got the European football. I got all the football.
And all the balls.
But speaking of things that have covered, all the balls. Speaking of balls and things shaped as such, I can't say that he'd fucking schmurder me, but we got to talk about The Rock, okay? Dwayne Johnson, if you will. This guy, again, you bring up the XFL, you bring up the football life, the whole shabiggity bigs. He is a now member. He's on the board of directors, okay? This is not a small job, okay? He is on the board of directors for the TKO group, okay? So this is the group, again, that owns the UFC and owns WWE. He is now in the top mixture of it with the Vince man, with the Dana White man. So it's like, huh? But with that being said, with him coming in, there is writing in the contract that states that the TKO company owns the Rock name. And because of the Rock name being owned, he is now a fucking puppet to be used. Hey, we want some money? Get your ass out there. And guess what? We're going to go to Saudi Arabia at some point. There's nobody. I swear to God, the Saudi prince has been asking for like Stone Cold Steve Austin every fucking
Warrior.
time. He's probably asked. I know he. That's right. Didn't he ask for the
Yokozuna.
Hulk Hogan and Hulk
Yokozuna.
Hogan? So you know he's going to be
He
asking
asked for
the
Andre
Rock.
the Giant, and Andre's
And
been dead
what a
for
better
30
way-
years.
This is true. Now, let's also take in a concept really quick. Just this thing. WWE gets between $40 to $60 million per time they go out to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
That number will double. I kid you the fuck not. It has to
Easily.
double if The
Easily.
Rock's going to go out to Saudi Arabia.
Top, yeah,
And they'll
for
pay
sure.
it.
Top movie star all across the world. Top world-renowned wrestler. There's people still that equate The Rock with wrestling, even though he's been acting almost as long as, or even longer than he's been wrestling.
Yeah.
Funny thought.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think so.
realized The Rock is now technically Triple H's boss.
Yeah, you're right.
This is great. That's great. I thank you for that. I thank you for that. There's gonna be memes a million now. I can already see the tension between. Anyway, this is great. So again, with that being said, with him now being a puppet at the TKO disposal, let's play fantasy bookers for a second, because it's always fun to do so. Does this mean that you can now have that Rock and Roman match, say, in Saudi Arabia rather than a WrestleMania, allowing Cody to finish his story? Or, and I'm going to say it in this beautiful, beautiful way, are you money-grubbing bastards
I'll do
that
it
are going to
twice.
do it twice?
Twice.
Okay.
And you see, even more, here's the
Feels like I
question.
like money.
the Australians have been pushing for that match for ages. You talked about the Sports Illustrated thing. That whole leak is that misdirection to say, hey, here, look at this.
Ooh.
I mean, they've done it before. If you remember a couple years back, the story leaked. Remember when AJ had left New Japan? They leaked the story that he had re-signed with TNA. Is that misdirection? And, we're going to get that in Australia. Because, yes, it's already sold out, but you need a big match. There is no way they are not going to have Roman on that show. Roman is the biggest star they have right now, the biggest name.
I mean, I'd
Roman on that show.
I'd be all for it. I mean, if that leak is what we're getting, Cody and Punk at WrestleMania, not for a title, sign me up. Those two dorks.
And
those two
Gunther
dorks deserve
versus
that.
Seth.
So I mean, it wasn't fully explained. So another topic we have to cover, just because it's. As wrestling fans, we're used to listening to Dirt Sheet Writer after Dirt Sheet Writer, Uncle Dave, Sportskeeda, you fucking name it, rumor. This is Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated dropped a leak, if you will, stating 3 matches for WrestleMania. One of them being The Rock versus Roman. The other one being Gunther versus Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then the last one being Punk versus Cody Rhodes, just because. Are we willing to take, as DC just beautifully pointed out in this whole mislead with fucking AJ way back in the day, are we willing to listen to this sports article writing giant in Sports Illustrated and take this for what it is? Is this misdirection?
I mean, at this point, who can you really trust? I mean, as we've seen over the last year or so with the dirt sheets and everybody, you really can't
even trust your own mother.
She's telling me that Rock and Roman are headlining. I was like, well, maybe we just kind of have to wait and see. I guess.
Didn't Sports Illustrated, weren't they also the ones that leaked the story that Saudi Arabia had bought WWE? Wasn't that them?
I don't
That's probably why they fired.
You might have to double check that or fact check that on that one.
But case in point, I think at this point it's a wait and see.
It's a wait and see. Oh my goodness gracious. So I mean, this is the great thing about Breaking News Jones. We can literally ramble about all these hot topics, pretty much hit everything. Did I miss anything? Is there anything you guys are concerned about? Are we worried about anything of the move-wise for WWE going to Netflix? Are we worried about anything being hindered? Hindered the ginger, maybe. Are we worried about The Rock being overused, now being a part of the board of directors? Is fucking Sports Illustrated going to leak the Okada signing?
You know what? I
What's
think at this point,
now?
WWE has gotten so big, like, they're actually dummy-proof to fail. Like, for anybody that's, worried about WWE going away or failing somehow, it's next to near impossible. And if they do, you deserve it. But there's just no way. WWE is basically untouchable now.
You know how I am with a certain promoter's Twitter feed. I did have to check that out to see if he was going to gloat and just say, "Oh, I kicked WWE off of network, or I kicked Raw off of network TV. They tried to get nothing."
Yeah, he took the.
It might be too soon, bro. You never know with that boy.
Oh God! Somebody,
honestly, as I said the other day, one of the last episodes, it's a brave new world that we're in. There is so much, and I think you guys can agree, is there, as much as we know, there is still so much that we don't know.
Right.
And if this deal works out, if this Netflix deal proves to be as successful as we all think it's going to be, well, what does that do for an AEW? What does that do for, for TNA? What does that do for New Japan? Like, and beyond wrestling, what does this do for the MLB, for NBA, NFL? What does this do for sports and sports entertainment in general? So I think everybody's going to be looking at this.
On that note, to kind of just fantasy, like Mo was saying, fantasy options that open up. When does Rock try to get XFL's foot in the door with TKO?
Hey.
Rock is on very good terms with Disney. Maybe there's some Disney crossover.
Yeah.
Disney possibly buying out Netflix. Just Disney and Netflix merging. You never know. This could, I mean, the amount of news that the TSK has had to cover in wrestling world has been unbelievable. Right. And to believe that it could expand to something like that is not so far-fetched now.
That boy Dwayne is just getting a little bit closer every day to that billionaire status. I think the man's going to hit it soon.
Just when we think we've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right?
I don't know. I don't know what next. I don't know what's going to happen now.
You can't call it.
It's only January still.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing. I was just gonna say it's only January. We haven't even finished January yet. 7 more days till the end of January.
We're 3 weeks in.
That's the reality. Is I remember at the beginning of all this, when everybody was worried about AEW leaving, Warner Brothers, and we're leaving TNT. I was like, oh well, what's gonna happen to them? Where are they gonna go? Oh, nobody wants them. Nobody wants to buy them. They going streaming is not gonna do them any good. And WWE is gonna go streaming, and it's obviously doing them mighty good.
Well, I mean, the writing's on the wall. Like, cable is dying.
It is.
Like, the whole ratings discourse is probably, hopefully, that shit goes away. But I doubt it. But with cable dying, everybody's going to be going streaming soon. So,
I want to ask the three of you this, see what you think. Now that this Netflix deal has been announced, and AEW is due to, I think, go into negotiations, end of this year, right? When is their deal up?
Yeah, I was thinking this year.
So here's the question.
The end of this year, yeah.
Does Tony Khan now look at this, and does he start to wonder, well, what are my options here? Do I try and see what WB is going to offer? Or do I maybe see what Prime offers?
Hey, I don't hate that idea. I kind of, if I'm AEW and I'm Tony Khan, I'm going to at least test those waters. I'm going to hit up HBO Max. Oh, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's already planned it out. I'm sure he's got businessmen hitting up emails and the whole whatever. But I'm calling Amazon and I'm calling HBO Max. And I'm saying, like, hey, dude, I know I'm over here selling myself, but what can y'all pay me to be on your shit? You get my whole library, you get this library. And we had talked about this originally. We had talked about this originally with the possibility of an AEW network and like having like the PWG library, Ring of Honor library at your will. Dragon Gate even, Well, I mean, you could bring in other ones, but as of right now, the people that are underneath the AEW banner, you take that to Amazon Prime, you give us $3 billion for fucking 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, whatever. And if they say yes, there we go. Now we're in the same ballpark still as WWE.
Not only that, but what if? Because I mean, you see rumors with everybody leaving New Japan that they're on shaky ground. Does Tony Khan try and do a merger with them?
I don't really see that being beneficial.
I think New Japan will be fine.
I don't know about beneficial, but they will be fine. I'm more worried about the reality is this is the United States of America. And in Japan, you are not an American company that's going to come in and just take what's ours. That's right. You're not going to do that. You're just not. What was homeboy's name? Ralph May or whatever the dude's name was that came in. Oh, I fucking ran Coca-Cola or whatever bullshit. And
he did.
He fucking ruined New Japan. He fucking ruined New Japan. Tony Khan's not going to help them at all. Gato will leave in a heartbeat. It's a great idea. And again, in fantasy land, it adds up beautifully. But the reality is this is what New Japan does. This is always what they've done. Remember, there was a time when they had a couple of excellent juniors in Black Tiger and goddamn Owen Hart. I keep forgetting his gimmick name out there, but you know what I mean? Like they had kids. I remember when Big Van Vader was out there, the first heavyweight of that new belt. You know what I mean? I remember when when Bob Sapp was out there and did fuck all. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle. The fact of the matter is those guys are going to come and go because that's what Japan does. That's what New Japan, All Japan, that's what they do. You know what I mean? They breed some guys. Maybe you're good enough to go to America. Maybe you're not good enough to go to America. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to push our limits. And when it fails or doesn't fail, we're going to rock with it. And we're going to keep on pushing on, with who we have, our kids, the guys that we're bringing in that are amateur wrestling stars, because that's what New Japan, just New Japan, but that's what Japanese wrestling really likes. Is guys with true amateur backgrounds. A base. So, anyway, we're rambling on, but that's the best part of the show. Really not. It's hot stuff. It could all change again tomorrow, and we mean this. Okay, we mean this. It literally WWE went from they'll never leave USA to they're freaking off cable completely as of next year. The Rock went from a guy that had less than $20 in his pocket, living on a sofa or living on a mattress, a stay mattress that he got outside of Canada, to he's now a part of the board of directors for TKO and close to being in the billionaire mark, and he's Triple H's boss. It's the best part about it. And WrestleMania is less than 2 months away. Royal Rumble is next week.
This week.
The reality is it's Saturday, baby. I'm behind. It's Saturday. The TSK will have live reactions. There'll be an instant reaction review. We're working hard, baby. We're working hard for y'all, and that's what we do. We're out here to show the love, to give the news, to do the thing. Breaking News Jones. This was quick. It was short. It was sweet. It was beautiful. But before we get on up out of here, we got to hit the plugs as we do beautifully. Obviously, number one plug, and I'm sure everybody will fucking hate it. Go check out our last episode, the last Breaking News Jones, that we just dropped about all the fun stuff that happened. Where's Okada going to go? We made some great points on that one. You absolutely should check it out. Absolutely check it out. Harold, what's the haps, brother man? I need some eat places.
So we got the Greystone episode slowly being worked on. DC and I got Academy Awards nominations. We're going to kind of go over the nominations, what we liked, what we think is going to happen at the award show. Stay tuned. Too Sweet Click Adventures. Too Sweet Click Academy Awards coverage coming soon at you.
Ooh, I like it.
I got a new one coming. I'm going to be recording it within the next 24-ish hours. Is the announcement and reveal of WWE 2K24.
Solid.
And
yes, sir.
With note, major history in case you don't realize. For the first time ever, a black woman will be on the cover. Has never happened before.
Yes, sir.
2 women on the cover. Never happened before. A lot of history is being made with this here game. And everything I'm hearing about it, I'm all for it.
It looks good. Makes me want to buy it, and I haven't bought a WWE game since that one punk guy was on that fucking cover. Rob, speaking of covers, I need help learning how to hit the drums,
good, brother. Coming soon.
What's the haps?
We've got some beginner drum tutorials, some beginner guitar tutorials coming soon on my YouTube. But coming even sooner than that, we've got a new episode, Deep into the Heart of Wrestling, with myself, the Demoness, Nicolai McDonald, and the podcast machine, Mike Larkin, dropping hopefully Friday. We're going to be talking about Royal Rumble. So.
The machine. The machine. He and I got history of the machine. That's my man. No, deep down and around the corner. Anyway, we're going to get on up out of here. Y'all know the drill. You can always catch us, or catch me at least, on Max Wrestling and hit y'all on Thursday, which is just lovely, beautifully in the morning. But this will drop before Max drops, so go check out the Max Wrestling page. We'll hit y'all another time. I'm sure we'll be back before Royal Rumble and then back again for Royal Rumble. Get used to these beautiful faces. We are not going anywhere. Too sweet, boys. Let's give them a break. We'll sit them in there today. Yo.